Hey there, my fellow lunatics, and welcome to Dakon's Madhouse. Alright, everybody, it is time for another upgrade tier list video. Today's tier list is all about chest pieces. Let's not waste any time and just dive right into it. So, what are we ranking? How are we ranking? This tier list contains my opinions on which items are worth upgrading and which ones not so much. Now, I'm basing my opinions off of the stats of the items at various levels without reinforcement, and whether the item itself is just useful in general, or how its stats compare to other items of the same type. I also think it's worth mentioning that if you use the item a lot, and you think it's worth upgrading, then it's worth upgrading. I'm not telling you how to play. The devs did a great job with the upgrade system to make a lot of items worthwhile at various levels. So if an item is working for your playstyle and you want to keep using it, do so. So what is each tier going to stand for? Let's start with S tier. This tier is the cream of the crop. The best items that are always worth upgrading are going to be here. A tier contains items that are usually worth leveling up to 18, either because you may use them a lot or because its level 18 bonus is just worthwhile. B tier items may not be worth leveling up to 18, but they will stay with you for a long time and be useful at many different levels. C tier items are items that are worth putting a few levels into, but really only to tide you over until you can replace it with something better. Then we've got D tier items, which really aren't worth upgrading at all, but if you put a level or two into them, it won't be the end of the world. And of course, F tier items are a complete waste of time to upgrade. Don't even bother. Okay, let's get started here with the Assassin's Cloak. And unfortunately, we're starting low. The Assassin's Cloak is going straight into the F tier. The bonuses for this just are not worth the cost. Spend your money somewhere else. Now we have got the Bikini Top, and the Bikini Top is also going straight into F tier. It's just, unless again you're going for pure movement speed, it's really just not worth it. But things do get a little bit better. Now we have got the Bronze Breastplate, which I am putting into A tier. Yeah, Bronze is getting A tier. This is a really, really solid melee damage chest, and the bonuses go up really well. You could wear this from early game to close to end game when you replace it with a real end game build item. Next, we have got the Carapace Breastplate. And if you're using explosive builds, this is an S tier item, but I don't use explosive and I don't really know many people that do. So this is going straight into F tier for me, as the upgrades just really are not worth it. Now we have got the Caveling Chest, and this is going into C tier. This one you may wear almost until you get into the Scarlet Wilderness, as it is a decent piece of armor that is definitely worth putting some points in to upgrade. The Cooking Pot Tub, unfortunately, is not worth upgrading and is going straight into F tier. The Copper Breastplate, this I'm going to put into D tier. If you need to pump a level or two into it just for general survivability, go for it. But if you get to the point where you need to start putting tin into the breastplate, that's when you're going to probably want to just upgrade to bronze or to something better. Now we have got the Cosmos Torso. I'm going to throw this one into A tier. This one has some really solid upgrades for a really good piece of armor. And with only 2 levels to upgrade, these are really good upgrades and are totally worth the cost. The Cupid Tunic, breaking the trend from the helmets video of bad seasonal items, the Cupid's Tunic is actually going into C tier, as it provides a really solid range speed attack bonus. and is definitely worth the upgrades. The Dracularva cape, however, not as good as the Cupid torso. While it isn't so bad that it's not worth putting a level or two into it if you find the item useful, there are better items out there, and it's really not worth putting that much time into it. The Galaxite torso also is going into D tier for the same reasons. While the armor itself is amazing, the bonus upgrades for the torso aren't that great, and so it's really just not worth putting more than a level or two into it. And the Gemstone Garment, I'm putting this into F tier. It's not an item you're going to use very much. It barely upgrades, and since it is such a high level, it is super expensive for what you're getting out of it. The gingerbread top goes back to the trend of useless seasonal items, as its upgrades are just a complete waste of time.
Not my gumdrop button!
Now we've got the Godsent King armor. This is going into C tier. You only need to upgrade it twice, so if you've got the resources and you're wearing it, why not? But it's not the best of upgrades. It's okay. So you could put a level or two into it, which would end up maxing it out, but it's also just fine the way it is. Next, we've got the Hazmat Suit Jacket, and this one is going right into F tier, as the benefits of the Hazmat Suit are the set bonus. You don't need to upgrade it. The Hivebone Breastplate is going into C tier, as this is a pretty strong breastplate that you can get early in the game and can last you for a little while. So putting a few levels into it is not out of the question. And then the Hunter's Cloak, I'm going to go ahead and put this item into B tier. It is a really, really good dodge item, and you could wear it almost to end game. It will be replaced when you get to like Paladin armor or you fish up the Ninja armor, but until then, you're going to wear this Hunter Cowl for a very, very long time. The Iron Breastplate. This one's a toss-up for me. It can go into A tier, it could go into B tier. I'm actually going to put it into A tier because it is a really, really good damage boost. There's really only one piece of better armor that provides a higher damage bonus when leveled up to 18. So you may not level this one all the way up to 18, which is an argument for putting it into the B tier, but because it is just straight damage, it is so versatile, it can slot into a wide range of builds and be useful. So that's why I'm giving it an A tier rating. Next, we have got the Ivy's Thorn Harness. And this one, guys, this one is S tier. You get this really early in the game and you will wear it into endgame. This is an endgame piece of armor and you get it right after you take out the Great Wall. So grab this, put it on, and you will use it with a poison build until the end of time. And now we've got the Kelp Mantle, and this one is going right into A tier as it allows your fish to start being reeled in much, much closer, making it much faster to get those fish so that you can keep on pushing through and getting those items that you need. Really worth spending the money on. I'd highly recommend it. Now we have got the Larva Chest, and I'm going to put the Larva Chest into B tier. The reason for this is that the Larva Chest is a good mining chest piece, and you will wear it for a very long time. So you will put levels into it. It is not going to be your endgame mining armor, so don't worry about maxing it out. You will be replacing it eventually. Now we've got the Magma Torso Armor with only 2 levels needed to upgrade it. This is going into A tier as those burn builds, they are going to need it. And if you're not using a burn build, it's still a really solid chest piece if you don't have anything better. All right, now the Mercenary Tank Top. If you found this early enough that you're actually wearing it, the upgrades for it are pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and put this into C tier. I personally only use this as a vanity item, but if you haven't found better, it is kind of a good general purpose item and doesn't suck. Next is the Miner's Labor Suit, and this one is going straight into S tier. It is the best mining suit in the game, and it actually isn't bad for melee damage these days. So I highly recommend this and level it up all the way to max because you will find really good use for it. The Moldweb Breastplate is actually going into B tier. The upgrades for this actually scale pretty heavily as it gets toward level 18. So if you are wearing it, spend the points in it because it'll hold out for a good long while. Next are the ninja garments, and these are going right into S tier. These things are amazing dodge, amazing crit. They're versatile in multiple builds. You're going to want to get these as soon as possible. Now we've got the Octarine breastplate. This one, we've had so many good ones lately, but unfortunately, this one's going right into D tier. If you've got it and you're wearing it, put a level or two into it if you feel the need. Otherwise, just replace it as soon as you can. The same really is true for Omeroth's chest plate, as a level or two really wouldn't hurt, but otherwise it is a waste of time. And just not to sound like a broken record, but let's go ahead and place the Paladin harness and the Peasant's chest in there for the exact same reason. Both of these items are D tier. While the Paladin's harness isn't that bad, again, it's really not worth upgrading it as you are going to replace it pretty quickly, especially once you get your hands on the ninja garments. Now we have got the pot tub, and like its helmet, this tub is really, really good. It's arguable that this thing could be worth A tier, but I'm going to go ahead and put it in B tier for right now, as it is one of the stronger crit hit and crit damage pieces, but there are better items out there. So if you get this, it can last you for a long while, but you are going to replace it eventually. Raincoat, unless you want your item pickup radius to be absolutely insane, there is no reason to upgrade this. This is an F tier item. The Ranger Tunic, being such an early game item, it upgrades really, really well. So I'm throwing this into A tier, as it can be part of an end game build. The Ranger Tunic is really strong. Next, we have got the Scarab Harness, and this one is also going into A tier. It is a really strong piece of armor. You barely have to upgrade it at all. The upgrades are totally worth the points, and it is one of the best Thorns items in the game. So definitely going to want to upgrade this and put it to good use. Now we have the Scarlet Breastplate, and while its upgrades are better than its helmet, it's still pretty worthless. So if you're going to put a level or two into it, go ahead. That's why I'm putting it in D tier. But for the most part, you're just going to want to replace this with something better as soon as you can. The Scholar's Cloak. It is a good item, but its upgrades are just trash. So I am going to throw this into F tier, as you really do not want to waste time upgrading it. You're not going to get anything good out of the upgrades. Slime Armor. This one is going straight into A tier. It has the highest pure damage boost of any breastplate in the game at max level, which if you're going for a pure damage build, that means you're going to be wearing this slime armor. It is a good piece of armor, and since it is straight damage, it's versatile in a wide range of builds. Arguably, this could be an S tier item as well, but I would say that there are a few other pieces of armor out there, like these the ninja cowls. They're really strong and can outclass this just slightly. So you could argue that this belongs in S tier, but I'm going to go ahead and put it into A tier. And now we've got the Solarite Cuirass, and this thing is going straight into F tier. Its upgrades are not worth it. It's a good piece of armor, just don't waste your time upgrading it. The Spooky Blanket Cape, bucking the trends as well, just like the Cupid Tunic. This thing is going into C tier, as while there is better dodge chest plates and there are better movement speed chest plates, there are not better movement speed and dodge sets combined into a single item. So if you're trying to get dodge with decent movement speed, it won't hurt to use the Spooky Blanket. The Stone Chest Plate, I'm actually throwing this one into A tier, as it upgrades very, very well, including its bonus for damage reduction against bosses, which gets very high when you max it out. So especially if you're going for that build, this is really, really good, but even otherwise, it is a solid piece of armor in general. Next, we have got the Towel. This one is either A tier if you're going for that movement speed boost, or it's complete F tier because it's a waste of time. I'm going to throw it into F tier because I don't really need that extra movement speed boost. But if you're going for that pure movement speed, you're going to want the towel at that point.
Don't forget to bring a towel.
Next, we have got the trench coat. This thing's pickup radius is its only advantage. So pump a few points into it for that. Otherwise, a complete waste of time. The Wild Warden Pauldrons, I'm throwing these guys into A tier. The reasoning is, again, they have really good upgrades, and especially for the pets and the bonuses that they provide you, especially once you get that set bonus going. The Wild Warden armor is definitely A tier armor. And we're going to end it out on a downer once again with this F tier wooden armor. Don't waste your time upgrading wood. There's always better. And I think that just about wraps it up for today's video. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and until next time, stay crazy.